Hey, my name's Katie, and I am the mom of a 13 and 11-year-old. We've been homeschooling for about 5 years, and over the years, we have evolved into unschoolers. And what unschooling is basically where the child learns what they want to learn when they want to learn it. So, child-led learning. When we first started off homeschooling 5 years ago, we went with a more traditional approach. I had just pulled them out of public school, so we were used to doing subjects. So we would do math and English, and just over the years, we kind of relaxed more into life and learning through life to the point of where we are now unschoolers. Unschooling is not just a way of learning for the child, but it's really a lifestyle. Even throughout these years, my life has changed. I've done stuff like I've quit my job and I've started my own business. I've gone back to school to study stuff that I'm interested in learning about. So unschooling really applies not just to your kids, but to your life as well. And I'm going to tell you 8 things that we do differently as unschoolers. The first one is obvious. My kids don't go to school. And what this means for us is that time when they would be in school for 7 or 8 hours a day is free time. That's time that we are able to do whatever we want with. And also they don't have homework to come home and do. And they're not tired from being at school all day. So it's really just, we have every day we wake up and we have our day to do what we want with it. So we can go to museums or the zoo or parks during the week when they're much less crowded. We can do things like go on a vacation in February to maybe somewhere where it's warmer, or we can get up and go hiking any day we want to. We can stay up late and watch movies together. We can go to the gym at 11 a.m., which is what we love to do. All of these things we couldn't do if my kids were in school. And just because they don't go to school doesn't mean that they're not learning. My kids are naturally curious, and all kids are naturally curious in a wide variety of topics. Some of the things that my kids have learned about on their own are things like astronomy, algebra, anatomy and physiology. Actually, my 11-year-old took an online A&P class with me. We kind of did it together. I'm in college and took A&P, and she was really interested in the subject and joined me for that class online. They also have been interested in things like cooking and nutrition, super interested in wolves. Those are just some of the intense topics that my kids have been really interested in naturally on their own. Another thing we don't do as unschoolers is my kids do not have a bedtime. That means that they're able to stay up as late as they want and sleep as late as they want, given that we don't have anywhere to be the next day. If we have somewhere to be, they are required to get up at a certain time and be ready to leave the house. And if they don't go to bed early enough the night before, then they're going to be tired and they're going to suffer the consequences that day. So when we first kind of implemented this no bedtime agreement, they struggled with it at first because they were excited to stay up late, but then they realized that if they stayed up late, then they had to sleep in, or if they had to get up early, they were tired, and they just learned the natural consequences of staying up too late. Now, one of the benefits of not having to go to school is you don't have to get up super early every day, so my kids are able to learn this self-regulation by being at home. And my 13-year-old has kind of on her own set herself a general time that she needs to go to bed and a general time that she likes to wake up. So she has set her own routine and schedule on her own, which is something that's really important for adults to learn, for kids to know, something that kids need to know before they become adults how to do. Now, I didn't just give them free rein and say, okay, no more bedtime, but I also sat down and talked to them and explained to them the importance of sleep and why your body needs sleep and how much sleep your body needs, so that they kind of had a guide on what they needed for their bodies to be healthy. And they've done a really good job with that, and it's been something that they have really been able to learn because it's natural for you to want to get enough sleep. Another thing that we don't do as unschoolers is my kids do not have electronic device restrictions. So they can be on electronics whenever they want for however long they want. And this teaches them self-control. So if you sit on your device all day, you're tired and sluggish and grouchy. And at first they had to learn those things, but now they understand that being on the device, on an electronic device all day is not good for them. And they are personally motivated to find other things to do. And they realize the addiction of screen time. So this isn't just something that I just told them, okay, you can go be on your device as much as you want. I also spend time explaining to them why being on a device all the time isn't necessarily good and give them ideas of other things to do. And they both have this app on their phone. I don't know what it is, but it lets you know like how much screen time you're spending per day. And they kind of like have a game with themselves and each other about who can spend the least amount of screen time on their phone. And each week they're trying to reduce it, and they only allow themselves a certain amount of time and stuff like that. So they have learned to self-regulate that on their own. The next thing that we don't do as unschoolers, which kind of ties into the last two as far as scheduling, is that my kids completely set their own daily schedule. So they wake up in the morning and they get to decide what they do. And this is a super important skill to have as an adult and to learn as you're growing up, is how to spend your time and what is a valuable way to spend your time and what is maybe wasting time. And wasting time is okay and relaxing is okay, but trying to find a balance between the two is really critical for an adult to be productive and successful and happy. So my kids like schedules and routines, so they kind of have made themselves a schedule and goals and things that they want to accomplish each day or each week or each month. And I help them work through that and learn how to set goals. But I think it's really important for them to be able to make their own schedule. Like when you go to public school or school in general, you are told that you have to be there at this time and you're going to do this, this, and this, and then you can leave at this time. And your day is so scheduled and structured that you really don't have that ability to figure out how to set your own schedule. My 13-year-old is really interested in art. She wants to be a storyboard artist. So she spends a lot of her time every day drawing and practicing that skill. And if she was in school, she wouldn't be able to do that and wouldn't be able to devote as much time as she wants to a skill that she feels is valuable. So she's able to set her daily schedule up around her drawing. And she also wants to go to college to study storyboard, to become a storyboard artist. I don't know exactly what you go to school for to do that, but she wants to go to school to be a storyboard artist. And so she knows that she also is going to need math and writing. So she's been studying those topics on her own as well. Another thing that we do as unschoolers, which is not necessarily typical of unschoolers, it's just something we do in our family, is that my kids are responsible for their own meals. They do meal planning, meal prepping, and the cooking and making a grocery list of their foods, and they cook it once a week and kind of meal prep foods for them to eat throughout the week so that they have healthy home cooked food that they are able to heat up and eat whenever they want. So we don't have set meal times most of the time, and we're pretty busy and we eat different things. So they're responsible for meal prepping their own food. Another thing is I do not restrict what my kids watch or read. So they are allowed to watch just about anything that they want to or read just about anything that they want to. And that is a form of them learning to self-regulate. So we really only have had issues with things that are scary. So for my younger daughter, at one point, she watched The Walking Dead and it was making her anxious at night. So I didn't tell her that she wasn't allowed to watch it, but I told her that maybe she should stop watching it because it was making her stressed out. And she agreed, and she took several months off and it got better. and she's recently started watching it again and is fine. But she knew that, certain shows are scary for her and maybe she shouldn't watch them. And my other daughter is really into Stephen King right now. She liked the It movies, and because she liked those It movies, she's interested in reading all the Stephen King books, and so she's working on It right now. She previously read The Body and watched the movie Stand By Me. I believe that kids are able to self-regulate if you're there to communicate with them what they're feeling and what's going on. Another thing we do as unschoolers is my kids are responsible for buying anything that they want beyond what is necessary. I think this teaches them the value of money and is just another important lifing skill. So a good example of this is if we're out for the day and we are needing to get something to eat, the kids have an option of either packing a lunch or buying their own food when we're out. So if they don't want to spend their money, they can pack their own lunch. First of all, eating out is not healthy. It is expensive, and it's just better to make your own food and take it. So I kind of encourage that. But if they want to spend their money on eating out, that's fine with me. But usually they don't because they realize how expensive it is. So another thing that we do differently as unschoolers is my kids are in control of their own bodies. They are able to wear whatever they want. If they want to wear shorts in the winter, then that's their choice. If they want to dye their hair, they're able to dye their hair. We've had lots of different hair colors. My 11-year-old has her nose pierced. She had to prove to the tattoo shop that she was responsible enough to take care of it, which she was. And so she's had her nose pierced for about 6 months. And they are able to refuse hugs, or any type of touch from anybody. One of my kids has sensory issues and does not like to be hugged. The other one loves giving hugs, and hugs are at their discretion. Those are 8 things that we do differently as unschoolers. Like I said, we haven't always been unschoolers. This has just been a natural progression to where we're at right now, and I'm really happy with the spot that we're at right now. I love the way that we're living our life and the way our relationships are with each other and how we get along and the autonomy that everybody has. If you're curious about anything that I said or have anything to add, whether you're an unschooler or not, leave a comment below. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you later.